Welcome to Daily Papers, the podcast where we break down the latest academic research into bite-sized, easy-to-digest pieces.
We've all been there. You're in a heated debate about a political issue, and it feels like the other person is looking at a completely different set of facts. You show them data, and they just interpret it in a way that confirms what they already believe.
It's a frustratingly human experience. It's a psychological phenomenon called motivated reasoning, our tendency to fit evidence to our beliefs, not the other way around. But what if it wasn't just a human flaw? What if the AI chatbots we're all starting to do the exact same thing?
That is the fascinating and slightly unnerving question at the heart of a new paper from researchers at the University of Washington, titled Persona-Assigned Large Language Models Exhibit Human-like Motivated Reasoning.
Okay, let's break that title down. Large language models, or LLMs, are the AIs we're talking about, the brains behind tools like ChatGPT. They're trained on huge amounts of text from the internet to understand and generate language.
And persona-assigned is the key to the experiment. The researchers didn't just talk to the standard, neutral AI. They gave it a role to play. They prompted it with instructions like, adopt the identity of a Democrat, or adopt the identity of a Republican, or a religious person, or a person with a high school education.
So they essentially told the AI to role play as someone with a specific identity. And the big question was, would the AI start thinking like them? Specifically, would it start showing the same kind of motivated reasoning, that biased thinking, that we see in humans?
To find out, they ran the AIs through a couple of tests. The first was all about spotting misinformation. They showed the different AI personas a series of news headlines. Some were real and some were totally fake, and asked them to rate how accurate they were.
So basically a fake news detector test. You'd think an AI would be pretty good at that, but the results were really surprising. The simple act of giving an AI a persona generally made it worse at telling fact from fiction.
Exactly. For instance, the AI given a high school-educated persona saw its accuracy drop by almost 9% compared to the baseline neutral AI. But here's the most interesting part. The researchers found that this drop in accuracy wasn't because the AI became less analytical. Instead, the mistakes were best explained by motivated reasoning. The AI's desire to stick to its identity was overriding its ability to be objective.
It's like the AI wasn't just analyzing the text of the headline. It was asking itself, what would a person like me believe? Which is a very human way to get things wrong.
But it's the second experiment where things get really wild. This one was about interpreting scientific data. The researchers gave the AIs a simple data table from a fictional experiment. They used two scenarios. The first was a neutral topic, a new skin cream and whether it caused more or fewer rashes. The second was a politically charged topic, whether banning guns in cities led to an increase or decrease in crime.
For the neutral skin cream test, the personas didn't really matter. The AIs with the Democrat or Republican identities both just read the data and gave the correct answer. There was no identity to protect.
But for the gun control data, the bias was off the charts. The data was set up to be a little tricky. You had to compare proportions, not just raw numbers, to get the right answer.
And the AI's answers depended almost entirely on their assigned political persona. In one scenario, the data showed that banning guns decreased crime. In that case, the AI with the Democrat persona was up to 90% more likely to interpret the data correctly than the Republican persona.
And when they flipped the data so that it showed banning guns increased crime, the Republican AI was suddenly much better at getting the right answer. The AI wasn't just calculating an outcome. It was reaching a conclusion that felt right for its assigned political team. It was motivated reasoning in its purest form.
It's truly incredible. The AIs were ignoring the logical steps needed to solve the problem, and instead were jumping to the conclusion that felt right for their identity, even when that identity was completely fabricated and assigned to them just moments before.
So the obvious next question is, can you fix it? The researchers tried. They used common debiasing techniques, like prompting the AI to think step by step, or telling it to prioritize accuracy above all else.
And the result? It didn't work. The biases remained strong. The motivated reasoning seemed to be a core part of how the persona-assigned model worked, and a simple instruction to be more careful couldn't undo it.
This is where the paper moves from a fun experiment to a real-world warning. We're all talking about personalizing AI, making it a companion that understands you. But what does that really mean? If your AI learns your identity, your political leanings, your beliefs, will it start to just confirm everything you think?
That's the risk. These models could create the most powerful echo chamber we've ever experienced. Instead of challenging our beliefs with facts, a personalized AI showing motivated reasoning might just find clever-sounding justifications for our existing biases. It could actually make us more polarized and less connected to reality.
So the big takeaway here is that in our quest to make AI more human-like, we might be accidentally building in some of our most dangerous cognitive flaws. Making an AI that can reason like a person might also mean making an AI that can fool itself like one too.
A fascinating paper that shows the line between artificial and all too human intelligence is getting blurrier and more complicated every day.